This is Flat Out Agility, an Australian agility podcast. I'm Grace. Agility is a team sport, but your team member is a dog, and your dog doesn't know your goals or your timelines or your ambitions. Your dog doesn't understand the rules or the etiquette or the infrastructure that surrounds the sport. To them, you're just playing a game, and sometimes the conditions of the game change. And all of this means it's on you to take responsibility for ensuring your agility journey together is fair and fun, because your dog's experience matters just as much as yours. The mindset you bring to training and trialing directly shapes your dog's experience. If you show up tense, frustrated, or pushing too hard, your dog will feel it. They might not know the rules, but they always know how you're feeling. Your responsibility is to ensure that agility is always a positive, enriching part of their life. No ribbon or qualification is worth losing your dog's enthusiasm. As humans, we're used to sports where we can push through discomfort, where effort equals reward. But in agility, pushing often backfires. If we ask our dogs to keep repeating something, we can dampen their motivation, especially if they don't understand or are feeling discomfort. When we practice agility, we are in a partnership. So every time we get out on the agility field, it's our responsibility to make sure that partnership endures. You might be wondering what some of this stuff actually looks like in reality. That's going to be different for every dog. But for example, my dog Topaz is the kind of dog that would just keep running as long as I asked her to. It's up to me to notice her subtle and individual behaviors that tell me when she's actually had enough and when I should stop for her benefit. This took me a little while to figure out as I got to know her quirks, but now I can read her well enough that I can recognize when I've pushed too hard, and with that consistent practice and observation, I've been able to get to the point where I end training sessions before I see those signs from her. One of the real challenges in this sport is our own self-control. Self-control to stop a training session before you start to see diminishing returns. Self-control to not enter that trial when you're not ready. Self-control to walk out of the ring cheering your dog on instead of dragging them away in disappointment. It's natural to feel disappointed when a run doesn't go as planned, but your dog should never carry the weight of your frustration. Your emotional regulation is just as important as your handling skills. We condition dogs to the training and the environment, but we also condition them to our emotions. If every run ends with tension, that's the emotional picture we're painting. If we learn instead to treat every run as a fun game, regardless of outcome, we can shape a dog that is optimistic and resilient. And this is not to say that you should be able to just change your mindset overnight. This stuff takes dedicated practice. When I was struggling with Marcy's ring stress, I did not leave every trial run shrugging my shoulders and laughing it off. I was devastated over and over again. It wasn't until I took a break from trialing, then put in the work to my mindset, that I was better able to manage my feelings and behavior. It takes time and it takes effort. Agility is all about delayed gratification. Not only are we teaching our dogs to expect and accept delayed reinforcement, we also need to teach ourselves to expect and accept delayed gratification. The tangible way we recognize achievement in this sport is through qualifying runs. But qualifications don't come often, and sometimes they don't come for a very long time. That means you need the mental fortitude to keep showing up without regular external validation. Think of it as building resilience, patience, and perspective. As Megan Foster says on her podcast, Fostering Excellence in Agility, agility is a long game. Every time you walk into the ring, you're investing in the future. For a qualifying run, everything needs to be clear. But if you think about it, when a run was 90% correct, but 10% went wrong, is that really a failure? Maybe your dog nailed the weave entry or hit every contact or succeeded on a tricky handling section. Those moments are worth celebrating. Part of the agility mindset is redefining success, so it's not just about qualifications, it's about overall progress. If you learn to celebrate the small wins, you'll always have something to take away from a run. The first trial I entered Topaz in, I made sure to not get ahead of myself and set goals that were achievable, realistic, and important to me. My goal in her first trial was for Topaz's ringside skills to be strong enough that we could run a full course, qualifier or not. At the Royal Darwin Show a few months later, my goal was the same for the different and busier environment of the show. Setting goals that are more specific and aligned with your overall perspective of the sport and how you want to show up for it can be really beneficial to your mindset. It's also just as important to evaluate your run constructively. Teach yourself to come away from a performance thinking about good and bad, but make sure you think of bad as just needs more training. If you can look back at your run and frame it as things that went well and things that need work, you will have a better experience in future when things don't go the way you wanted, because you'll always be able to get something out of what you did, both to celebrate and to take forward to work on. And if you stick with the sport, you're likely to experience running multiple dogs over many years. And every dog you run with becomes part of the progress, part of the journey. Sometimes the goals you have in mind might not be achievable with your current dog. As handlers, we also grow with every dog. That means our earlier dogs had a different version of us than our current dogs do. Sometimes there's grief in that, wishing you could go back and do better for the dogs who came before. My first dog, Luca, had to deal with my lack of knowledge, poor communication, and the limitations in my skills. He had to be there, puzzling things out from my haphazard approaches and my confused attempts. And then I had the goal to get another dog who benefited from everything he didn't. I wish I could have been better for Luca from the beginning. I wish I could have had a better understanding of his point of view from his puppyhood. He deserves everything that Marcy and Topaz got. But part of the mindset of agility is accepting that reality, honoring what those dogs gave you, and letting it drive you forward. Each dog is part of your journey. Their lessons live on in every course you run with future dogs. Accepting that can help you take the pressure off and enjoy the dog you have right now. I strive to be better every day of Luca's life from the moment that I know better, and that has to be enough. And sometimes we face the hard truth that a dog isn't suited for agility. Maybe it's physical, due to conformation or injury. Maybe it's temperament, whether that's aggression or sensitivity, or maybe it's just not what they love to do. Accepting that takes courage, because it might mean letting go of certain dreams you had, at least for right now. The sport is meant to serve the partnership, not the other way around. There are many ways to celebrate and grow with our dogs, even if agility isn't their path. Ultimately, I was only able to accept that Marcy is not my trialing dog and finally move on when I had lined up another dog to do the sport with. So I recognize how emotionally difficult this process can be. When I was struggling with trying to solve Marcy's ring stress, I developed a list of dog training affirmations to help me reframe our journey together. I'll share them now. Repeat after me. We are going at the pace that is right for us. We can only achieve when we have the skills to achieve. What's important is we are both having fun. Learning is an ongoing process. We are not defined by our mistakes. We can take our time to learn and grow. We are a team and we work together. What matters is that our relationship remains strong. These affirmations were helpful for me when I was in the thick of trying to work through Marcy's trial stress. Just having written them and reading them now and again is helpful to remind me to accept where I'm at and focus on moving forward at the pace that's right for me and my dog. Agility asks a lot from us: patience, resilience, perspective. The more we can keep the sport fun, fair, and positive for ourselves and our dogs, the more they'll want to play the game with us. Progress might feel slow at times, but every training session and every run is adding to the journey. If we focus on joy and connection and find the little wins along the way, we set ourselves up for an agility career that's not only more sustainable, but also far more rewarding for both ends of the leash. This has been Flat Out Agility. Be kind to dogs.